What's going on, guys? So yeah, I'm finally doing a discussion video after another bit of a hiatus, but like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, this is going to be a common thing now because I'm kind of moving away from this stuff a little bit, or just haven't been motivated that much. But it's E3 time, and I figure, why not rant about it? Because this is the worst E3 I've ever experienced. Now, just to give you a little bit of backstory, I've only been watching E3 since 2013 when the 8th generation was just about to start. So, I don't have as big of a history as some other people. I know there's been plenty worse E3s than this one, okay? I will fully admit that. But for me personally, oh my god, this sucked. And the fact that Sony wasn't there just made it even worse, because at least with Sony, I could sort of count on them to bring something good. Sony they have disappointed me at times, but they have brought some good stuff at times. So I was really bummed when I heard they weren't coming, but I was hoping, okay, maybe one of these companies can impress me, right? Not really. There were some highlights at this E3, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing compared to what I've seen in the past. So I'm going to try to go through some of these conferences a little quickly. I don't want this video to be too long, but knowing me and the blabbermouth I am, I could go on for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So let's start off with, I guess EA. I didn't watch EA Stain, but I'll talk about Fallen Order. I'm not quite sold on it yet. It looks promising, but it doesn't look much different than a lot of the other Star Wars games I've seen. So I'm just going to need to see more. The gameplay they showed I don't think was the best choice. It had some cool stuff in there. I like how you can slow down time and take a stormtrooper and put him in front of his laser blast. That's pretty cool. I like that. And the story looks very promising. I really feel like they're going to focus on story here. I can't wait to see how you communicate with your little robot companion. I forgot what his name is. But that looks like it's going to be a little bit of fun. So I am looking forward to the game. And it looks like this is a game that I'm not going to have to boycott with the letters EA on it. I'm shocked. Yeah, no microscam actions, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a season pass either. It's just going to be as pure of a release, probably almost as pure as God of War. And remember, this has the letters EA written on it. Yeah. What year is it? Okay, so now let's move on to Microsoft. Now, Microsoft really has not impressed me or I wouldn't say impressed me. They have impressed me at points, but they never blown me away. This entire generation. The one thing I can think of where I was really surprised was when they announced backwards compatibility, but that is literally it. As far as that, they've always been one of the weakest conferences to me, and this year was no different. It was the same old meh or just solid. I'm not looking for meh or solid, Microsoft. I'm looking for like almost mind blown or to be, excited or surprised. Now, granted, for me personally, one's not personally because almost everyone reacted the same way, but for me personally, the biggest highlight for me of this entire E3 happened at Microsoft's conference, surprisingly, and that was the announcement of Flight Simulator. And first of all, I just want to thank the people who have been watching my Flight Simulator reaction. Thank you so much for watching the video and all the amazing comments. Thank you so much. It warms my heart. It makes me feel so good. And I love the Flight Simulator community. They're just so freaking awesome. So I'm glad to see there's so many people out there that are so excited for a new Flight Simulator because we waited so damn long to get one. I thought Microsoft was done with this franchise. That was an actual surprise. That's something that actually did not get leaked. So that was good. And I apologize if I'm sniffing like crazy. I got like wicked bad allergies that have been beating the shit out of me lately. So anyway. So yeah, Flight Simulator. And then of course Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk 2077. Now I'm not that hyped for Cyberpunk, but Keanu Reeves has my attention because he's like the biggest action star right now. And I think it's really cool that he's going to be in Cyberpunk. And the fact that he came out on stage, oh my god, that was so epic. I mean, that's going to be something that people remember for a long time. That's going to go down the E3 history books, because how can you hate Keanu Reeves? I mean, I love him as a person, because I heard of a story where he actually helped a stranded person who missed his flight or got stranded in California. and he just showed him around Hollywood and stuff like that, and gave him a tour. Like, what other actor does that? Keanu is just the fucking man. I fucking love the dude. He's awesome. So, that's Microsoft. I might be forgetting... Oh, yeah, and the fact that Halo Infinite's going to be a launch title for the next Xbox, that's a ballsy move for Microsoft to take, because you risk alienating a huge audience. Because I don't think there's any way they're going to bring that to Xbox One. I just don't see how they can do it. So... but another thing I'll talk about with Project Scarlet, because one thing that they mentioned in there, and I'm not really buying it, is when they say they're like trying to aim for 120 frames per second. Yeah, that's probably maybe a quarter or half true, because there's no way they're gonna have every single one of your next gen Xbox games run at 120 frames, unless it's like a racing game. There's no way you're gonna see a first-person shooter or an open world game run at 120 frames per second on a next-gen console. 60 frames, that's possible. I think that could happen, and it better happen, because I'm sick of 30 frames per second being a standard. It's time to bump it up and really push the limits. So, don't get your hopes up for 120 frames per second. Maybe they can do that with all your Xbox One games. They can bump up the frame rate. That's probably possible. But don't get your hopes up for next-gen games all run at 120 frames. Microsoft was not really being honest there, but who knows, maybe they could work some freaking magic and make it happen, but I highly doubt it. So, that's Microsoft. Solid, but also kind of meh conference. Nothing different. It was the same it made me feel the same way as I did any other Microsoft conference. Just kind of a little bit hollow. And now let's talk about easily the worst conference at E3 this year, Bethesda. I don't think anyone is denying that. That conference was dog shit. That thing was freaking horrible and a waste of time. I mean, Doom Eternal, though, let's just get that out of the way, was good, but I found out the game's gonna have a season pass, so that's a no-buy for me. I think it's bullshit. They already announced DLC before the game's even out. Why do you have to do that? Oh my god. So, yeah, that's going to be a no-buy for me. I'll wait for a used copy like I always do. And it really sucks, man, because I fucking love Doom 2016. It was one of the biggest surprises of the generation for me. And I'm sure the multiplayer is going to be filled with microscam actions because, you know, of course we got to do that. So, yeah, Doom Eternal looked fine. It looked good. It looks like it's going to be a really good game. But besides that, the rest of the conference was a snooze fest, and you know, one thing I just gotta say is that although it's cool that Bethesda announced NPCs for Fallout 76, the only NPCs I really saw though were the people in the audience, because there is no freaking way the general person would be that excited over the crap that they showed at this conference. Like, every 10 or 12 seconds, you hear a guy going, "Wow, yeah!" And it was for, like, freaking Elder Scrolls Blades or some shit. For some that's not even that big a deal. Either these people were paid quite a lot of money, or they were developers. Or just the biggest fanboys on the planet. The average person would not get excited over that kind of stuff. And they have people cheering for Fallout 76. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're kidding me. After all the crap that Bethesda pulled, you're gonna cheer for that. Now, granted, I did like the fact that they're adding stuff that people want. I did give them credit where it was due. That part is cool. But, you know, and of course, it's just like I predicted, even though I didn't make a prediction video, I knew exactly how it was going to open. It was going to be an apology tour, and it was such an apology tour. But that's not going to mean jack shit unless you deliver the goods. So, we'll have to wait and see on Bethesda, but me and millions of others have lost complete trust with them, so it's going to take a while. Oh, and Fallout 76 skin Battle Royale. I'm so shocked. Battle Royale, wow. Okay, so moving on. Bethesda's conference, utter dog shit. And Square Enix, the only thing that really impressed me was Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is looking really good. And I'm really happy that this game's not having a season pass, and I highly doubt it's going to have microscam actions either. Yes, I know it's going to be episodic, but I'm okay with it as long as the original story is in the base game. And if they want to expand on it, that's completely fine. Sorry, I smacked my mic there. I have no problem with them expanding on the game. That's perfectly fine. So, and also I just gotta say, it's one of the most graphically gorgeous games I've ever seen. This game looks freaking phenomenal. I don't know how they're pulling off these graphics. It looks insane. So, I'm very satisfied with the way that looks, but the rest of the conference, all the way until the end, we'll get to that in a bit, it's just a snooze fest. I almost didn't give two shits what they were showing. I didn't care about their Final Fantasy VIII remaster. It's not a remaster, it's a port. If it was a remaster, it'd be like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It'd be completely overhauled. Or like kind of like how the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is. That's a remaster. Final Fantasy VIII, that's not a remaster. Just saying. So, yeah, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the one that took freaking forever to get to, and was... It's very tough for me to say as if it was worth waiting all that time. Kind of. And that's Marvel's Avengers. Now, I'm going to make a separate video probably on this because I am very skeptical on this Avengers game. But for the most part, it looks fine. But there's just one thing that has me concerned. Live service. I could just put in 2 words and I already have red flags going up. I've seen a few other people having red flags go up, and I'm going to probably dive into more detail, hopefully, if I actually make a video. But they showed a combination of gameplay in the trailers. I mean, I think I heard there's going to be gameplay coming out today for it, so that's cool. But I don't know if it's going to be any good. Because one thing I noticed with this entire E3 this year, and I'm so happy that other people are starting to catch on, is where's the fucking gameplay? What's with all the fucking CG trailers? Seriously, because I remember many years ago, this was like back in like 2014, 2015, I made a video about this, where I'm so sick of CG trailers. They completely misrepresent of how the game's going to look, and they're not exactly accurate to how the game is going to play sometimes. And don't get me wrong, sometimes they can be, but why have all these, if you're going to use these developers and all their talent, why have them waste it on a CG trailer? Shouldn't they be, working on the game and maybe making a demo or something like that? I mean, what Final Fantasy VII Remake did, what they showcased, that is how you do E3. You show gameplay and awesome spectacle and some cutscenes and talk about the game's mechanics, if you have enough time, that is. That's how you do E3. That's what I like with E3, when it's just pure gameplay with epic moments. And a lot of that was missing this year. And granted, I didn't watch Ubisoft's conference either. I always skip theirs because they're massive cringe fests. I don't care for them. And I'm not a Ubisoft fan. I think most of their games are just slightly above average. They're really nothing special. I feel like they don't put as much effort as they can into their games. They're just kind of copy and paste games as they usually are. So, but yeah, I'm really glad people are catching on and getting sick of CG trailers. I want them dead. The only exception I guess I could have is like what Super Smash Brothers did. They when they reveal a character, they show a CG thing and then they go into gameplay. That's okay because we already know what the game's gonna look like. I'm more talking about like a reveal. When you're gonna reveal a game, please don't make it a CG trailer. Just don't. Like I know God of War had a CG trailer before the game came out. I didn't care about that because we already know what the game was gonna look like. We already had a representation of what the game's gonna actually look like. So, but now let's talk about last, but I guess maybe not least. I don't know. Nintendo. I wasn't impressed by Nintendo either. They opened up with revealing Dragon Quest Smash characters, and I'm really not happy about that because that really decreases Sora's chance of getting in the game. I don't know why Nintendo just won't add Sora. Like, do you know how much hype Smash would get if you put Sora in? But it's like, no, we don't want to blow people's minds. Well, I mean, they did later on. They do blow people's minds. They do want to do that. But I mean, if you really want to blow people's minds, you got to put Sora in. But I'm starting to think Sora is dead for Smash. I'm starting to really believe that at this point. So, yeah, when it comes to Nintendo's conference, I wasn't really that impressed. I'm usually never impressed by their directs. They're usually snooze fests to me, and they're kind of cringy. But I know a lot of people, some people were impressed. No More Heroes 3 was a bit of a surprise. Also, Alien Isolation is coming to the Switch. A new Breath of the Wild sequel just had a Kingdom Hearts 3 poll on it where they say it's now in development. So, yeah, we'll see that game in about maybe 5 or 10 years. So, that's great. And the last thing they showed was Banjo-Kazooie being introduced in Smash, which, you know, I'm very happy for the Banjo fans because they requested him for a long time, and they're finally getting what they want. So I'm really happy to see Banjo in Smash because he's been a Nintendo icon for years. So I'm really glad to see that he's finally getting put in Smash. And I'm sure he's going to be a wicked load of fun to play as. So I'm looking forward to Banjo-Kazooie and Smash. So that's all cool. But for the most part, Nintendo's conference was, to me, just for me, forgettable. I didn't really care for it. So, yeah, that's my whole thoughts on E3 this year. Wickedly disappointed. And I'm not kidding. I was almost kind of thinking at one point, you know what? I don't really care if E3 dies at this point. Because this is the quality we can accept for a little while. It can actually die. Like, I don't care. So, you know, if you don't have the goods, don't even hold an E3 conference. If you don't have the goods, just don't bother coming. That's probably what Sony said. They probably didn't have enough to show. That's what I originally heard. So they just said, no, we're not going to come this year. We're going to have more stuff later on. And hopefully that's true, you know, because when you go to an E3 conference or watch an E3 conference, you expect big things. You know, if it's something small like PlayStation Experience, you know to tone down your expectations just a little bit. But when it comes to E3, you gotta bring the big guns, and nobody really brought big guns this year, except maybe for Nintendo and Square Enix a little bit. They brought a couple of nice juicy guns with a little bit of ammo in them. So, but for the rest, whatever. I guess maybe Doom Eternal because, you know, it has a lot of guns in it. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on this year's E3. I want to know, what did you think of E3? What was your biggest disappointment? What was your highlight? I'd like to know in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And also be sure to hit that like button like you absolutely mean it, and the subscribe button as well. It is totally free. I'm RandomEd787, and as always, game on, my fellow gamers.